This week, a deadly shooting in a Midtown Manhattan office building sends shockwaves throughout the city. Plus, a dog is dragged down the street and set on fire. And
she hit me on the side of the head.
A woman is punched in the head while waiting for a train. Right now, Fox 5's Crime in the City. Our first story this week rocked the city to its core. An armed man entered a Midtown Manhattan office building and killed 4 people. The deadly shooting has left this city heartbroken and searching for answers.
Here's what we know so far at this hour. Suspected gunman Shane Tamira opened fire inside 345 Park Avenue yesterday during the evening rush. 4 victims are dead, including NYPD officer Diderot Islam, who's a 3.5-year veteran of the department. A Blackstone executive is also among the dead, and an NFL employee is seriously injured. Authorities are now reviewing a note from the suspect, which is providing more information about a possible motive. We have a team of reporters following the very latest on the shooting today. Our Richard Giacobus is live in the Parkchester section of the Bronx with more on how the community is mourning the loss of NYPD officer Diderot Islam. But first, Lisa Evers is live outside of the office building in Midtown with updates on the investigation and what we may be learning about the gunman's possible motive. Hi, Lisa.
Well, hi, Antoine. This building here, this prestigious building, one of the most prestigious office buildings in New York City, has now become a high-rise crime scene as investigators from the NYPD, the detective squad, as well as federal investigators comb through it floor by floor, looking for evidence and looking for more clues about how this could have happened. The search is also on for answers about how a mass shooter could do something like this and take innocent lives. Now, bullet holes, shattered glass at one of the most prestigious office buildings here in the city, and here's what stunned people in the area are saying.
This kind of stuff, you can train all you want, but it's the once in a blue moon that actually happens.
We have a society in which guns are everywhere and people are murdered, and we say thoughts and prayers and we move on and the next incident happens.
The horrific scene unfolded just after 6:30 Monday evening. 27-year-old Shane Tamira walking casually into the high-rise office building with a loaded M4 semi-automatic long gun after driving here from Las Vegas in a BMW. Police say that BMW was packed with a high-powered rifle and a handgun, along with extra ammo, magazine clips, and bullets. Investigators also found a suicide note in which Mayor Adams says he complained about a brain injury from playing football when he was younger. The mass shooter was apparently looking for the NFL offices, which are at this building, but took the wrong elevator. The NFL issued a statement which said in part that counseling services would be made available to all employees. Tamira ended up shooting and killing an employee of Blackstone, the financial management company. They issued a statement which said in part, "We are heartbroken to share that our colleague Wesley LaPalmer was among those who lost their lives in the tragic incident at 345 Park Avenue. Words cannot express the devastation we feel. Wesley was a beloved member of the Blackstone family and will be sorely missed." Now, in total, Tamira took 4 lives, including an off-duty police officer working building security who heroically tried to stop him before the rampage and instead ended up paying for it with his life. Now, here's Mayor Adams.
As you indicated, he turned the gun on himself and shot himself in the chest. He appeared to have some history, mental health history, from what we're getting from our partners in the Nevada, Las Vegas. It was after 6 p.m., and so many people were no longer in the office, but he appeared to have gone to the wrong floor and due to the wrong elevator bank, where you can see on the front desk which elevator bank was the NFL, but he did not go to that bank.
Now, the building remains closed to everyone except for investigators and officials and other necessary essential personnel here today. NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch says at this point in the investigation, cautioning that it is early, less than 24 hours old, it appears that Tamura acted alone, that there were no other associates with him. Now, I have learned from law enforcement sources that Tamura was granted a concealed carry permit by the Las Vegas Police Department in 2022, and that was on him at the time of this mass shooting.
In the days following the tragic shooting, we learned more about the lives lost, including an NYPD officer and a Blackstone executive.
Brave men and women who put on that uniform to become an NYPD officer take an oath to protect the lives of the citizens of this city. Officer Ditterul Islam did just that. He not only served his community, but also took care of his family here in the Parkchester section of the Bronx, as you mentioned. And today, this community mourns with the entire city. They're overcome with grief here on Officer Islam Street, so much so that they have trouble speaking. The 36-year-old was part of New York's finest for 3.5 years. Much of that time was spent at the 47th precinct. An immigrant from Bangladesh who came to America with a dream to build a better life for his family. Officer Islam was married with 2 children. His wife expecting a 3rd child who family members say is due next month. Those we spoke with in this neighborhood today called Officer Islam a pillar here, a mentor to other men who he encouraged to join the police force, imploring them to be traffic agents rather than patrol officers because he said it was safer. But when it came to his family, Officer Islam's cousin says he was the perfect father who cared deeply about his children and their well-being.
I was very upset for that news. So actually, we not believe he's passed away because he's too young man. He has 2 children. One is maybe 8, 9, and youngest one is 4 years old.
I heard all those, like, the kids crying, so it was very sad. Just like, you know, my neighbor right here, she's a neighbor, she's close by. She used to, you know, just by watching him, you know, around here. So, I mean, it's not my family, but I really feel bad when I heard the news. It's very sad.
And as we mentioned, Officer Islam served much of his time as part of the NYPD here at the 47th precinct, which has now put up the purple and black bunting that will hang over that precinct before the dignified transfer of Officer Islam, which we are expecting at some point today. Family members say Officer Islam was an only child, and upon hearing the news that his son's life was taken, we're told Officer Islam's father suffered a massive stroke last night and is now at the hospital in critical condition. Now this community begins the mourning process of Officer Islam, as we said, along with the entire city, who is praying for his family.
In addition to Officer Islam, 3 other people were also killed by the gunman, and a 5th person was wounded.
Fox 6's Arthur Sheehan is live in the newsroom with what we're learning about the other victims tonight. Arthur?
Natasha, Antoine, the magnitude of this loss is just beginning to sink in as we learn more about these New Yorkers whose lives were so suddenly and so senselessly taken. Those who knew the victims are now beginning to process the devastation and heartbreak. Now, 43-year-old Wesley LePatner worked at Blackstone as a chief executive of Blackstone's Real Estate Income Trust. This, according to her firm. A graduate of Yale University, she leaves behind a husband, children, and family. Wesley LePatner is universally being described as an exceptional, compassionate leader and mentor, determined to help improve the lives of others, serving on the boards of her children's school, the UJA Federation, and the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Another woman killed by the gunman was 27-year-old Julia Hyman, an employee of the real estate firm Rudin Management, which also owns the building where the shooting took place yesterday. Like LePatner, Hyman was also a resident of the Upper East Side and also attended an Ivy League school. She was a graduate of Cornell University. And the final victim, a 46-year-old man, was a beloved security guard at the building. He's being identified by his union as Alain Etienne, who many called Al. Al is being remembered as a devoted father, and like LePatner, he leaves behind 2 children. He's originally from Haiti and was working behind the security desk, but was fatally shot. Friends and family still processing that loss, want him remembered for his devotion to his family and being a provider for his children's education. And there is one surviving victim of this shooting. That's an NFL employee. He was in critical condition when he was brought to the hospital last night. But today, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, in a memo to staff, say that the employee is now in stable condition.
We now head to South Ozone Park in Queens. That's where a man was seen dragging a dog down the street and then proceeded to set that dog on fire. An arrest has since been made in this case.
Police say a man in Queens set a dog on fire. Residents in that area are rattled tonight. Fox 5's Richard Jacobus has the story.
Hi, you are currently being recorded.
But despite the warnings that he was on camera, the man you see in this video continues pulling and dragging the lifeless body of a dog on the sidewalk and onto the street. We are blurring and pausing this video because of how disturbing it is. Moments later, police say this man does the unthinkable. He takes that dog and sets the helpless animal on fire.
They have to put it in jail. They have to put it in jail. In my hands, I killed him.
This all happening right before sunrise on Thursday at the corner of 128th Street and 116th Avenue in South Ozone Park, Queens. The NYPD says the suspect took an accelerant and poured it over the dog's body. He then ignites it and runs off.
Our camera would help here in this corner to catch these guys who are doing wrong things, you know.
It seems like everyone in this now nerved-up neighborhood owns a dog. Signs reminding residents to pick up after their pet have been placed on almost every street corner.
Like, that family got a dog, that family across the street got dogs. Everybody around here got pets. I personally got 4 cats, too. So to hear, like, somebody just do that outside in public, it's crazy.
Police put out these photos from surveillance cameras of what appears to be a nearby deli. The man last seen wearing this maroon sweatshirt with a polo logo in tan lettering across the chest, gray pants, and a light brown backpack with the letters MCM stitched onto it. In a statement, the ASPCA tonight says it has the remains of the dog and is supporting the investigation by conducting a necropsy.
To do that is like hurting another soul, like another kid. It's kind of messed up. It's disgusting.
And finally, we head to Harlem, where a woman was punched in the head as she waited on an Uptown Manhattan B and C line platform.
I punched in the head while I was waiting for the subway yesterday, so let's talk about it.
This TikTok video has been seen thousands of times. In it, Tori Heinlein talks about what happened Tuesday afternoon when she was on an Uptown Manhattan subway platform.
She approached me and she asked me twice if I was going to apologize. She was like, "Are you going to apologize? Are you going to apologize?"
Tori says she'd never seen this woman before. She didn't understand what was happening.
Kind of the second that we broke eye contact was when she hit me on the side of the head as hard as she could. And she was holding like a can at the same time. So it was like both her fists and this can. Then I fell on the floor.
The MTA says subway crime is down more than 36% compared to last year. That's according to its April 2025 report. Still, many riders say it's important to be aware of what's happening around you.
Like one time, a guy sat next to me and he punched the glass.
He punched the glass?
He punched the glass and like in the side of us. So I stood up, then I stood back down, and I sit back down. And I'm like, let me see what's going on. Everybody was looking at him, and then he got off the next stop.
Tori says in her case, the woman walked on the subway and managed to get away. She filed the police report the next day, and NYPD is investigating, but so far, no arrests.
She hit me like right here. It was pretty wild. There's a little bit of bruising underneath my hair, but it's like right where my temple is.
Tori's lived in New York for 3 years. She still takes the subway every day, but now it feels a little different.
I still now feel very on edge on the train right now. And especially waiting in the station. There is something about that you sort of just feels like you're like a sitting duck.
That's this week's Crime in the City. Subscribe for more at youtube.com/Fox5NY.